Heating, electrical, and plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round. And their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Alcohol has strained our relationship. Drinking too much can cause harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, we will save our relationship. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for 3, and you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome into a Wednesday show. Austin Norman and Erick Strickland with you for the next couple hours. Be joined by a couple good guests. Evan Bland coming up in 20 minutes or so. And then at the top of the 3 o'clock hour, Diane Mendenhall, president of the Omaha Supernovas. Big announcement for the city of Omaha and for the Supernovas. We will get to all of that. Touch base on the Supernova season with her again at 3. We're jumping into the show, though, brought to you by NEBCO. Thanks, NEBCO, for their sponsorship of On the Block. With the news that the Nick and Rico dropped on us at the end. Frankie Fiddler, the Bellevue West product, who played the last couple years up at Omaha. Big thanks to Chris Crutchfield, by the way, for joining the show a week ago today. So if you missed that episode, wherever it is you get your podcast, go find it. Go find last Wednesday's show. I had a good, 20, 25-minute conversation with Coach Crutchfield. Didn't touch on losing Frankie Fiddler. I think it was still a bit of a sore spot, but he's in the transfer portal, average just about 20 points per game. Nebraska kid, Strick. I'm not sold on him as a Power 5 starter. I don't know if Nebraska needs him, but I wouldn't be mad if Nebraska went and got him. Where do you fall with Frankie?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of the things I've been very consistent about, Austin, is you need a combination of high-level recruits, maybe finding a game changer or two. You need guys that are solid and they're rink mass types. They do certain things. They have intangibles, whether it's lockdown D, whether it's knockdown 3, or whether it's, running the team, whatever it is. Those type of guys. And then you need core guys that bleed red, that come from the area. They're going to give you everything they got. They're not going to bend or bow to anyone because what they're wearing is important to them, their family, and the state. It's really important because they know what Nebraska means to them in the community, so forth and so on. I think you need a good balance of that because when we were at our best, we had that balance. There was guys like me and Jason Glock and Andy Markowski and Chad Adias and those were the core guys that Chubbuck. Those are the core guys that like you can see it on the court that like Chubbuck makes this unbelievable LeBron style block to win a game, I think against Kansas one year. Things that either I did or Badge did in securing a win. I remember one time, like there's these little impact, and then like Jason Glock was he would challenge us and they would go at us hard. Adias, Chad, and Markowski, they would really get after us in practice and make us better. I think you need that combination, man. I think it's an important combination, and that would go to part of that because I think he's that type of guy, but I also think he brings something to the table that could also help the team win.
Speaking of Andy Markowski, I ran into him after Sunday's game between Nebraska and Oregon State. Yeah. He called you out. Wondered why you weren't out there.
Cap. No, he didn't.
I talked to him for 2 minutes.
No way, Markowski.
He said, I told him, I introduced myself. I said, hey, Andy, I'm Austin. I'm on the show at 93.7 The Ticket on the Block. I work with Erick Strickland. Oh, yeah, where's he at? Why isn't he out here right now?
Well, did you let him know that I got assigned to a different location?
I just told him you weren't out here right now.
You know what? You're supposed to back up your boy, man. It's supposed to be you and I, man. Like
we just wanted you out there with us, Stricky. We wanted you out there. We tried to get you out there.
Cool. Corvallis. Yeah, that would have been a great trip. I would have loved that one.
We would love to have you. So
yeah.
Anyways, next time you run into Andy, don't let him call you out.
It wasn't a 10-hour drive. It was what, 4-hour flight? Or something like that. Yeah, about 4 hours.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Yeah.
4 hours? Because then you went, but
I lost 2 hours. And then drove an hour and a half.
Then you had to drive an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because you flew in Portland.
I did fly to Portland. Okay. Yeah. Very nice trip, by the way. Very beautiful country.
It is beautiful country. The drive is a lot of woods and I'm sure. You got to see, did you drive along the water?
I didn't.
Okay.
The coast is like an hour further west.
Okay.
And I thought about doing that on Saturday. By the time media availability got done, it was already 4 o'clock. I'm like, I don't want to drive an hour out just to drive. I could have, but decided not to.
Yeah.
Nice campus, though.
Yeah.
Did you ever get a chance in your playing days to just walk around other people's campuses?
No. I think time-wise, we just never really got to happen. I like when we played Minnesota, we played at the barn, but we didn't really we stayed downtown, so we didn't really stay. I don't think we've ever really stayed on campus somewhere. So I can't say that that's the case. I think probably the one that I did get to see a little bit of because it was just kind of compact was Oklahoma State, Kansas State. So I did get to kind of see those campuses a little bit. Oklahoma's was kind of off a little bit. Didn't really get to see Missouri. Now, I will say probably one of the most beautiful campuses, and please don't hate me for it, I'm just being honest, is Colorado. It's just the landscape, the mountain, and the buildings, the way that they're built. I got to go around UCLA's campus a little bit because we would practice down or play in the off season. So you get to kind of walk through campus a little bit. But yeah, pretty cool.
What's Poly Pavilion like? Did you play in the main gym?
We did sometimes, not mostly. It was mostly the off gym because they have multiple courts. But there were times we did get to play in Poly. It's cool. It's kind of like you walk in, but it's kind of down. Like it sits down. So you don't like walk in at
ground level.
Yeah. It's kind of like down into the, so I don't know.
Well, at Carver Hawkeye's like that, where you walk in at the top and then have to walk down.
Yeah.
Are there any NBA arenas like that, or are all those ground up?
I want to say, I can't. A lot of them were ground up. Old Colorado's was like that too. Kansas State was like that.
Okay,
but I can't say. Maybe the old Oakland Coliseum. Maybe, if I remember correctly, it kind of had that kind of flow to it.
What was Seattle's like that? So I'm trying to picture Seattle's arena.
We kind of came in at Key, like on the bottom, and we were like right there. It's very rare. I would say, especially on it's very rare because even Dallas is pretty much
ground up. Yeah.
Well, actually, I think Dallas is kind of go down. I think, yeah, because I remember you go in and then you're kind of like looking. You're at a level. It's like it's in the middle of the bowl, so it's not up like the top side.
Yeah,
you kind of in the middle of the bowl, so you kind of go down into it. Yeah, yeah.
Good to know. Text line. That's the question for you. 402-464-5685. Thanks, Starter Heyman, for sponsoring our text line. What's your favorite college campus you've ever walked through? I can't say Oregon State's my favorite. I will say it's very nice. I appreciated my time there walking through. I don't know if the campus fits the city or the city fits the campus. Like, it's so unassuming. You know, it's, I don't say modest. I think it has a bad connotation. Like, it looks nice. Everything is clean. It looks like it fits in place where it's at, but there's nothing that just like jumps off the page at you. Like, football stadium's nice. You can tell it was new and they redid it. The Coliseum, at Gill Coliseum that I was in, just kind of sits there. It's right across from the football stadium.
Yeah.
Get kind of like vaguely Fog Allen vibes from it. Just from where it sits on campus and all of that. Baseball stadium is right there, just a block across the street. And none of the buildings really like stand out. You know, it just looks like, hey, this looks like a building with a lot of classrooms in it. But it's very green, a lot of vegetation. And that's the thing. Like, it was like this gray my entire trip with a little bit of drizzle, but it didn't feel like cold or depressing. It's like, hey, this is just nice for like springtime refreshment almost.
Yeah, well, I'll say it's a little bit different for me. It just, I hated the gray. I don't know. It's just the gray kind of does something to me, Austin. It just kind of puts me in this kind of mode. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Yeah.
From the text line here, let's stick on the transfer portal. Downtown Scott, I want to know what you make of Fran McCaffrey entering the transfer portal. Well, I don't think Fran entered the portal, but his son Patrick did. If Fran were to enter the transfer portal, that would open up a whole nother can of worms. But Patrick McCaffrey did enter the transfer portal. Interesting. I think this would have been bigger news a couple of years ago, almost. But I think Iowa overachieved this year in some ways. It seemed like a rebuilding year after the Murrays were gone. I don't think Patrick McCaffrey's a star. I think he's a solid role player. I think he's going to go and you know, play a role for some teams. I don't think it's a huge deal necessarily.
I think style matters for him. I think I think his brother was probably more of the basketball type of guy, it seemed. He just seemed like he just likes to play, but he doesn't love it. Would I be wrong? Like, he probably loves it in turn, but it didn't seem like he played with the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Connor was like a little louder. He was played more of a role, but more of a, I don't even say star, but he was more upfront about it. Patrick was just so laid back and didn't have that takeover.
And would you say it was the same for the Murray brothers? Because I just think Keegan was probably, well, maybe it just was they were on the same team, so one kind of deferred. Just like when you're in the womb, if you're a twin in the room, one in the womb's like, no, give me that milk. I'm drinking all the milk. Probably kick. That's why they be wait, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. He's kicking like, man, you drinking too much milk. Give me that. And they're probably, you know what I'm saying? The fights that they have in the womb.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that thing going on.
Maybe. I think Keegan was slightly shorter and slightly thicker. So I think his game translated better in multiple levels as a scorer. Chris was so smooth, right? Buttery jump shot, maybe not quite as explosive or quick. I also feel like Keegan gets a bit of a bump because he was the first one to do it. Like if Chris comes before Keegan and has the same stats, maybe we make more of him. But I think Keegan played his cards a little better situationally. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. I just thought.
For reference, Patrick McCaffrey averaged 9 points, 3 rebounds, and assists per game. Only shot 31% from 3, which surprises me because when I think of Patrick McCaffrey, I think of him, hitting 5 threes in the first half against Nebraska at the end of the 22-23 season. 79% free throw shooter, 6'9", 200 pounds. I don't know if I buy that he's 200 pounds. Like that is a skinny dude. I don't love the frame there. So I don't think this necessarily hurts Iowa as much as, like you said, like Connor McCaffrey was kind of the heart and soul of that team. It wasn't the best player. He was the perfect glue guy, though, passing the ball, knocking down open shots. I don't think Patrick was that.
I agree. Yeah.
So, couple things from the text line to wrap up this segment. 2289 says College Station is cool. Kyle Field is the best road stadium. Also, okay, we found Trev Albert's burner. Newt says Notre Dame have jogged through listening to the Rudy soundtrack a couple times. No, it does not make you weird. That's just what you're supposed to do. What, did I say something?
What'd you find?
Did I say something?
It was a good slip in. If you know, you know. I ain't going to repeat it. If you know, you know. That was good.
Thanks, Ricky. Derek in a car. Thank you very much for the kind words. It really was an honor and a privilege to be trusted to go out to Corvallis. I hope I made the most of my opportunity. I appreciate Oregon State and all their help getting me set up. Thanks to DP and Rebecca for sending me, Nick, Rico, Strake holding the fort down while I was gone on Monday, and of course 1890 for the financial support for the trip. So a lot of people to thank there. I hope I played my role pretty well. Here's this question for you, Strick. Fred may end up with 5 to 7 scholarships to fill. How important is it to get it right the first time in filling the scholarships, or does he have some cushion to blend older players with new younger players?
And that's what I'm talking about. This is why I think the recruitment of that balance is important. You want a nice, good core of young guys coming up, in addition with great guys that can mold together, right? So, for example, there's a biblical statue where they talk about the in Daniel, where it was the Babylonian, and it talks about the different, you know what I'm saying? But at the bottom, there was something that was unique about the statue, that it doesn't mold well for the statue to stand. And follow me. This is where I'm going somewhere. I don't always just throw stuff out there. I'm always going somewhere, because it was a mix of clay and iron. Right? That doesn't mix well. They don't gel. They don't bond, and it leaves for instability. So the chances of that statue standing for long periods of time is not good. And I think that's what Nebraska's trying to build. They're trying to build more of a solid, and that's where that comes. I think that balance of adding in the new, but it's got to come with character. It's got to come with fit. It's got to come with that works within the style. Because if there's any contrast to the fit that you're trying to play, the style that you're trying to play, it's going to be unstable. And that friction's not going to mold very well together. And that's why I think the young guys seeing it, being on campus, this is why I thought it was been great for Eli to stay, because I think now he gets a better understanding of, what's the expectations, what do they actually want from me now with the leaving of, what they're going to need from me, and what then I have to step up to do in order to be ready to fill that position and void. That's why I think the balance is important. So go out and get you you're getting that with Janowski is going to be part of that young group. Pull them out of,
enemy territory, hostile territory.
Getting him out of Wisconsin. And then you have, obviously Jope's going to be 1 year better for you. And you maybe want to add maybe a young, and I think they have a couple that had set out this year that may be able to be good additions, because they've got a chance to observe and see. This is why you wish that Romel Lloyd Jr. and Eli, because that length, that size, that could have been very close to what Illinois was across the board.
Sure.
And it's unfortunate.
We'll definitely keep monitoring the scholarship situation for Husker men's basketball. Spring football started this week. I'm sure we'll get to that sometime in the next couple days, and we'll start talking about that a little bit next with Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Talk some Husker football at the end of basketball season, and Husker baseball as well, all with Evan next. Spring is on its way. Are you prepared to keep the grass greener on your side? Blades Lawn and Landscape has a position opened at a homeowner association to their client list, with residential and commercial openings also. Transform your yard into a private oasis with the professional services offered by Blades Lawn and Landscape, including landscape walls and beds and a 5-step fertilizer program applied by a licensed professional. Call them today at 402-730-6320 or go to bladeslcc.com to schedule a free estimate on commercial or residential lawn services.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. It's the only place to see the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks, like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. It's big-time fun for the whole family. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. This Friday and Saturday at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Brought to you by BKT Tires, Great Clips, and the original Super Glue.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round. And their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Spring is a time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Fuhrer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Service Ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
The Stars are home this weekend for a pair of pivotal Western Conference games. It all begins on Friday night as the Sioux Falls Stampede come to town for a 7:05 p.m. puck drop. Don't miss Down Syndrome Night the next day on Saturday, with the action getting started at 6:05. Haven't been out to a Stars game yet this season? Don't miss out, because only 3 weeks are left in the regular season. Tickets are available at LincolnStars.com.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Drinking and driving causes serious harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. In 2021, 65 people were killed in Nebraska by a car crash involving a drunk driver. Do not drink and drive. By drinking less, you can still be here for your loved ones. If you or loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on the block, Austin Norman and Erick Strickland with you. We go to our VIP line brought to you by Aloe Fiber, where they understand the importance of Stricky.
Oh God, you caught me
Aloe
in the middle
Fiber.
of a promo.
They understand the importance
Exceptional
of
service
with
local heart.
Boom, nailed it.
Whew. He caught me in the middle of promotion. I'm over here trying to promote on the block, and he caught me with Aloe Fiber, and I was like, "Ooh, that's not the one I was." Oh yeah. Exceptional service with local heart. There we go.
We appreciate Aloe for sponsoring our
Yes, we
VIP
do.
line. We welcome in Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald now. Evan, another week to catch your breath in Husker land, right? Nothing else going on this week. Just nice and chill, right?
No, that's not been my experience. Lots going on, man, but it's good. There's plenty to talk about for sure.
The one thing that didn't happen was the Husker baseball game against Kansas State. Just quickly, is that a missed opportunity for Nebraska? Is it just kind of whatever? What do you make of the cancellation of yesterday's game?
Yeah, I mean, on the surface, it's definitely disappointing. I mean, it was going to be a matchup of a couple teams on long winning streaks. Kansas State's won 9 in a row. Nebraska's won 7 in a row. And two teams that are, I think, right now at or near the top of their conference with what the Wildcats are doing in the Big 12 too. So I think it would have been fun. I think the pitching matchup may have favored Nebraska a little bit, putting Will Walsh out there, and it looked like Kansas State was maybe going to go more of a bullpen approach. But, I think also this is a year, and Nebraska's put itself in a situation where it doesn't need this game, right? Like there are certain years where Nebraska maybe would be in that upper single-digit RPI number, and they maybe need a game like Kansas State to have a chance at a win and improve their resume. And as it stands, they're in a pretty good position. So, like, you'd like to have it. I think Nebraska felt pretty confident about its chances going in, but ultimately doesn't kill you. I mean, they're still in a pretty good spot, and, that's a testament to what they've done so far.
I remember you tweeting Nebraska being in the top 10, at least top 4, I think, of RPI 1 point early in the season. How long does it take for that number to sort of normalize and get to about where you expect teams to be?
I think we're getting there right about now. I mean, the Big Ten sort of broadly will start league play this week, and a lot of other conferences are maybe a week or two in. So there's still certainly room to move up or down, but I think you have a general sense at this point of like who is in that at-large conversation. Like if typically at the end of May, when the selection committee makes its decisions, an at-large team, if you're inside 40, you're feeling pretty good. If you're inside 50, you're probably right on the bubble in that 40 to 50 range. And so you're starting to see, a lot of that with SEC teams sort of establishing themselves at the top. So I do think we're getting there. You do need to continue to take care of business. Honestly, really, it's more that first month you have so much to gain with a strong non-conference showing, and it's harder to make that up on the back end. So I think the teams that start off well tend to be in that conversation more at the end than maybe teams that have a rough non-con showing and even win the league. And that's kind of the situation Nebraska was in last year, where they had a tough sort of February and March, and then they were in Big Ten contention, but it didn't matter because of what they did and just some of the missed opportunities on the front end. So you're getting there, and I think, Nebraska right now, I think, is number 11 in that RPI spot, and it's starting to mean more with every week that passes for sure.
Evan, this is a kind of a two-part question. Always thank you for joining us here on the Aloe VIP line. Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald. Evan, the first part of the question is, when you look at this baseball team as opposed to last year, there was a lot of things that we knew that we loved about them. Their hitting, a lot of their pop, their power. We felt pretty good about that. What about this team that you see is a little bit different, that has kind of poised them and pushed them into this position that they are in right now? And also, looking at the schedule, they're going to get a lot of the Big Ten's best right here at Haymarket, right there in the Haymarket field. So, does that help them in the long run as far as being able to make a deep run and possibly get a home regional?
Yeah, I mean, certainly can't hurt. Nebraska traditionally does really well at home. Iowa's at home this year. Maryland is at home, and a couple others as well. And yeah, I mean, those are the contenders right near the top. I think Nebraska's right near the top as well. And you look at a year ago, maybe I've said that on this show, but they played one game against a team that finished above 500 at Haymarket Park last year. So it was a pretty weak home slate. And typically you want to play some meaningful games at home, right? That seems obvious. And so that does set up well for Nebraska. They're on the road this weekend at Northwestern, but they have a lot of big, meaningful games coming up at home. And I think the first part of your question, Strick, when you talk about what's different from last year, to me, it's depth. And last year's team had some star power. There's no doubt about it. Max Anderson was a second-round pick. Bryce Matthews was a first-round pick to Houston. They had a couple of co-aces in Emmett Olson and Jace Kaminska, but there wasn't always a ton of reinforcements behind them. The bullpen, they didn't always know what that was going to look like once you got past an arm or two. The midweek was like drawing a name out of a hat for half the year, like almost literally. That's what it was like for coaches trying to figure out who could get you a couple innings of a trustworthy performance on the mound. And I would say in the lineup too, when you had a main contributor that was out last year, you kind of expected there was going to be a little bit of a drop off. And I think in all those ways, Nebraska has been better this year. I mean, there have been examples of injuries that they've sustained on the infield, and guys have come in like Rhett Stokes and won Big Ten Player of the Week and gotten on base at a 40% clip, or Will Walsh coming in as sort of a one-day sort of lineup starter, and he hits a grand slam, and then he's becomes sort of a platoon guy at first. And then I think in the bullpen too, we've seen, especially in the last week, where it hasn't just been the starters who have been good. Brett Sears and Drew Christo and Mason McConaughey is going to get his chance on Sunday, but the bullpen, man, I mean, it seems like there have been 6-7 guys that have come in key spots and gotten out. It's Kyle Fralick, Jalen Wordley, Kyle Perry, Casey Dice. You can kind of go down the list. Rand Sanders, of guys who have high leverage performance for Nebraska. And that's like the key to doing what you want to do in terms of hosting a regional, making the NCAA tournament. You need to rely on those roster spots 20 to 35 just as much as maybe you do 1 to 15 or 1 to 20. And so they're looking really good in that regard right now. And now it's all about seeing if they can sustain it now that Big Ten play begins this weekend, and they have a few more midweeks as well.
Talking about depth on just a conference-wide level, is the Big Ten going to be deeper at all than years past? Is it, just as deep or really shallow, I think, on the national sense? Like, are the top teams living up to their billing? Is the bottom where it usually is? What's the Big Ten picture right now going into league play?
I think it's pretty typical for what it's been. I mean, you look at really since Nebraska's been in the league since 2012, I mean, the high water mark for postseason qualifiers is 5. The low water mark is right around 2. I think they'll probably get 3. It seems like a 3-bid league this year as you look at it. And some of the teams are different. Like 2 months ago, I was among those who would have said that Iowa was the favorite because they had what seemed like the strongest, most established starting rotation. And they had just gone to a regional. I would have said Indiana would be that number 2 team because of their offense. And while some of those strengths have held up, like I think what we just talked about has played out and has hurt those teams in terms of they haven't had enough depth. Iowa, their bullpen has struggled. Indiana hasn't had enough pitching to hang in some of these important matchups. So I think those 2 teams have faded. I think Nebraska, which was a preseason number, 5 in the coaches poll, to me is at this point the favorite to win it, just because of the balance that they have and just the breadth of talent. I think Maryland has been a surprise, even though they've been Big Ten champions in the last handful of years. They lost their head coach. They lost kind of the guts of what made those teams go. And so now they're winning with pitching as opposed to their bats, which is sort of a difference from what we've seen. So I would say it's Nebraska, it's Maryland, it's Rutgers. Those are probably today the teams that would make the NCAA tournament. Iowa still can figure things out. Indiana's dangerous. Northwestern maybe is the surprise of the league right now. They're on their 3rd head coach in as many years, but they've handled a pretty tough schedule admirably. So I think that series with Nebraska is going to be really interesting this weekend. But yeah, I think ultimately it's probably a 3-bid league unless somebody else sneaks up and wins the conference tournament. And that's probably about on par with what it's been. Obviously the conversation changes next year when you add the 4 Pac-12 schools to the mix. But, right now I think it's kind of what it's been, which is you play 24 league games. If you win 17 of those, history would tell you that you'll probably win the league. And so that's what's in front of Nebraska and anyone else who wants to win this thing.
There it is. We're going to, Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald, we're going to switch over and talk a little bit of football because there's something that just came out. Got a chance to see an Reddit college football, at Reddit college football tweet that came out, which was talking about Nebraska, which for a long period of time, even when you look at the success that Nebraska's had, as opposed to the downslide that they've had over the last decade now, they were still in the top 10 as far as winning percentage. They have now fallen out of the top 10. You look at the teams. I find it interesting in both ways. One, Nebraska coming out of the top 10, but you look at the Big Two, SEC, dominated by SEC Big Ten with the additions of Southern California, and then with the additions on the other side of the SEC with Oklahoma and Texas. But we also have, your normal guys, your Penn State, Southern Cal, then you have Ohio State and as well as Michigan. So that thing is happening, but us falling out of the top 10, what's your initial thoughts on that? Does it matter, or is it something that we can get back on track and get a win streak? Because you see Boise State on there as well as like Notre Dame. Those are the independents as well as the Mountain West.
Well, my thought on that is that how good was Nebraska before that they're only now falling out? Like there were some tough moments in the last 10 to 15 years for Nebraska football, and they were still in there. I mean, wow, what does that tell you about the runs from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, what those teams were able to do? And I think it also reminds you that, like, in some ways, Nebraska has been the exception. Like, you look at those teams in the top 10, like most of them have had down periods at some point. I mean, Alabama has had down periods. Michigan's had down periods. Ohio State, like all those teams have had it, but no one has had it as long of a drought as Nebraska's had among those bluest of blue bloods in college football. So, like, I don't know. Like, you look at something like that, and I think you can make the case that, man, maybe this is when Nebraska wakes up under Matt Rule, and it's just a reminder that this place has the resources, has the passion to succeed. It's done it before for an extended amount of time. Now, a lot's changed across college athletics and college football since the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and so it's up to Nebraska to sort of adjust to that. But I think, as much as anything, it does provide some encouragement that says Nebraska's still relevant. They're still among the most impressive programs to play this sport in the last century just because of what they've done. And so we'll kind of see how it shakes out. But I think more than anything, it does just kind of put in perspective just how dominant those teams were under Coach Osborne back then.
You mentioned the leadership of Matt Rule, but also Troy Danon had the introductory press conference yesterday. He's been involved in a lot of those changes. He's been on a lot of those boards overseeing those changes. And Evan, I think that's important for Nebraska to have a voice in those conversations, a seat at that table, because Troy Danon said it himself, and not the exact same words, but the point was Nebraska needs to lead. Nebraska needs to innovate. That's when Nebraska is at its best. Do you think Troy Danon being, continually involved in those sort of committees is an asset for Nebraska football as it looks to kind of regain that spot?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you need a guy who knows not just the place that he's leading, but who knows the climate of college athletics and college football. And with some of those committees that he's on, and we heard him kind of break it down at his press conference and his Q&A with media yesterday. I mean, he's aware of how things are different and how things are continuing to be different. I think one of the things he said that maybe got people's attention the most was that if you feel like the last 5 years of college athletics has changed a lot, it's going to put it to shame with what's coming in the next 5. And so, like, that was one thing about Trev Alberts that was, I think, one of his biggest strengths was his ability to look ahead and sort of have a vision for what was coming. I think Danon shares a lot of those qualities and is somebody who is in those conversations and wants to be at the, as he called it, the big boy table, making decisions and setting the fate for the future of college athletics as opposed to having it be dictated to him. He talked about embracing NIL and the transfer portal and this idea that in a few years, some of the line items on the athletic department budgets are going to be probably revenue sharing with players and whatever that's going to look like. So, he cited some moments in Nebraska history where they have been leaders, whether that was with strength training in the late 60s, or nutrition, the walk-on program. There were times that Nebraska was a leader and set the trends and was innovative, and they were successful because of it. And they're trying to get back to that now, when things continue to be fluid, when the people who can figure out some of these nuances about the system are the ones who are going to win on the field.
Speaking of on the field, last thing for you. If you look at both sides of the ball, offense and defense, what's your biggest headline for spring ball on either side?
Well, I mean, it's got to be the quarterback situation. I think it's maybe obvious, but, I think defensively, there's a lot of continuity there. And maybe the biggest question mark, I suppose, is middle linebacker with a couple of new starters. But I still don't think that's a huge transition either, with guys like John Bullock and Mekhi Bayer back. And they have guys who have taken meaningful snaps there. So to me, it's about the offense and what does Nebraska do with the quarterback spot. I mean, Matt Rule said it again last week. You've got two true freshmen who should be going to their proms here in a month or so, but they're on campus taking reps. You've got Heinrich Harburg, who really has only been a college quarterback for a year, just in terms of the investment that coaches are putting into him. So it's all about how many reps can you take? How can you evaluate football skill? Because for the last couple of months, it's been about leadership qualities and personality traits. How hard do you work? Now it's about actual football performance and getting all that on film. And I think it's one of those deals too, where you're going to get a tangible sense of how the coaches feel, because in late April, the transfer portal is going to open up again. And if Nebraska feels good about its situation, it's going to stand pat. And if it doesn't, and Matt Rule said it openly, like they're going to go out and look for a veteran to help lead and maybe be sort of a safety blanket for what that position can be. So I think just following that group with Raiola and Daniel Kalin this spring, see how they perform, hear from coaches, hear from teammates, how that goes, and then ultimately what Nebraska decides to do, to me is the major headliner this spring.
There it is. Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald with us. Check him out on Twitter at Evan Bland, OWH, Omaha.com to read his work. And he's with us here at 2:30 on Wednesdays. Evan, as always, really appreciate your time. We'll catch up again next week.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Evan joined us on our VIP line, brought to you by Aloe Fiber, where they understand what, Stricky?
The importance of exceptional service and local heart.
Look at you on the ball. Big thanks to Aloe. Big thanks to Evan. We'll take a break, wrap up hour one of On the Block next.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group are Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
The Stars are home this weekend for a pair of pivotal Western Conference games. It all begins on Friday night as the Sioux Falls Stampede come to town for a 7:05 p.m. puck drop. Don't miss Down Syndrome Night the next day on Saturday, with the action getting started at 6:05. Haven't been out to a Stars game yet this season? Don't miss out, because only 3 weeks are left in the regular season. Tickets are available at LincolnStars.com.
Drinking and driving causes serious harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. In 2021, 65 people were killed in Nebraska by a car crash involving a drunk driver. Do not drink and drive. By drinking less, you can still be here for your loved ones. If you or loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, there's a chance we could see a few flurries. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies and a high around 46. Tonight, mainly clear skies with a low around 28. And tomorrow, we'll see more sunshine, go along with warmer temperatures. The afternoon high expected around 64. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Spring is on its way. Are you prepared to keep the grass greener on your side? Blades Lawn and Landscape has a position opened at a homeowner association to their client list with residential and commercial openings also. Transform your yard into a private oasis with the professional services offered by Blades Lawn and Landscape, including landscape walls and beds and a 5-step fertilizer program applied by a licensed professional. Call them today at 402-730-6320 or go to bladeslcc.com to schedule a free estimate on commercial or residential lawn services.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and air park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most. For all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Putting a bow on hour one of On the Block, Austin Norman and Erick Strickland with you. Justin on YouTube, thanks for chiming in. I will take that under advisement. Stricky, we're going to talk some more college basketball here in just a little bit. We have Diane Mendenhall at 3, but you pointed this out to me, and I found the official numbers. If the Sweet 16 feels a little chalky, pretty top-heavy, that's because it is. The combined seed numbers, so the lowest possible is 40. This year's is 53.
Say that again?
So the lowest possible, combination of seeds, right. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, adds up to 40. This year is at 53, which is one of the lowest on records. 2009, 2019 had combined seeds of 49. Other than that, it's 50, 51, 51, 51, and 53. So we had the upsets of Yale over Auburn and Oakland over Kentucky, but really NC State's the only quote unquote Cinderella, and that's a power conference team.
Exactly. And that's what's a little bit different that we've seen in the past. I mean, because we talked about it yesterday about the women's side of things, how there's the parity of the women's game usually happens in that middle sector. That's where you'll see a lot of closer games and could be an upset here or there. But then as you get kind of into this Sweet 16 area, that's when you start to see separation. It's very rare that you'll see a 1 seed upset in this portion of the women's college game.
Yeah.
You might see it in the Final Four. You might see it where
maybe
a
an
4
Elite
or
Eight,
5.
1-2, but that's it.
That's about it. So from that 1 to 4, 1 to 5, about 1 to 5 in the women's side, you'll normally see pretty consistent. But in the men's, this time it's been a long time since we've seen 2-3 matchups, 1-4, 1-5 matchups, so forth and so on. Outside, as you said, North Carolina. And the crazy thing, I would love your thoughts on it, Blockheads. 402-464-5685. Would you say this year's NCAA tournament March Madness is lacking the madness? I would love to hear that. And maybe Austin, while I'm kind of talking about this, could throw a tweet out and put it on Austin_Orman at Austin_Orman. Yeah. I keep forgetting because it's different for each platform. And then at eStrick20, because that's the one thing I don't think we've seen. Like, we've seen some stories, maybe in some matchups, as you said early on. You see some good things that happen, like with a Yale or so forth. But I haven't seen the madness. It's been pretty cut and dry for the most part. Some of the games, some overtime games, but it hasn't been that wildness that we're used to seeing in March Madness.
It absolutely hasn't. I mean, it's been 5 years since we've seen something this chalky. That 2019 year Virginia ended up winning. Before that, you had to go all the way back to 2009. That's a lot of madness, right? And I get it. 53 is kind of an arbitrary cutoff because it's where we are, but most years it's upper 50s, sometimes even dipping into the 60s. And that doesn't just happen with one team, making a surprise run to the Sweet 16. Because let's say you swap out Clemson for like Oral Roberts or whatever on that half of the bracket, you're at 62 with just one team. You need a little bit more to make it true madness, especially as chalk as the top has been. Arizona as a 2 looked good. Well, Carolina had a little bit of an easy path. Purdue, you can't trust at all. Houston's questions about depth. UConn is really the only team you felt really safe about making out of opening weekend, but all of them did.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, go figure. But there it is.
Let's go to break. Let's call up Diane Mendenhall, president of the Omaha Supernovas. We'll talk a big announcement for the city of Omaha and for the Supernovas. We'll get her thoughts on the season so far, today's news, and plenty more before we jump back into the college basketball conversation here during On the Block.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley. Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Service Ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Spring is on its way. Are you prepared to keep the grass greener on your side? Blades Lawn and Landscape has a position opened at a homeowner association to their client list with residential and commercial openings also. Transform your yard into a private oasis with the professional services offered by Blades Lawn and Landscape, including landscape walls and beds and a 5-step fertilizer program applied by a licensed professional. Call them today at 402-730-6320 or go to bladeslcc.com to schedule a free estimate on commercial or residential lawn services.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through March 31st, gear up for Easter with USDA Choice Whole Boneless Ribeye Loins for $12.99 per pound. Fairway's Hickory Smoked Boneless Pit Hams for $4.99 per pound. USDA Choice Whole Beef Brisket for $3.99 per pound. And all natural pork bellies for $2.99 per pound. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn. Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs. Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
The Stars are home this weekend for a pair of pivotal Western Conference games. It all begins on Friday night as the Sioux Falls Stampede come to town for a 7:05 p.m. puck drop. Don't miss Down Syndrome Night the next day on Saturday, with the action getting started at 6:05. Haven't been out to a Stars game yet this season? Don't miss out, because only 3 weeks are left in the regular season. Tickets are available at LincolnStars.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for three. And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
We're back on the block, hour 2, leading off on our Allo VIP line, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. See, Stricky, I was paying attention. I know what the Allo VIP line's about.
Well, I know
Listen
you
to my
know.
boy Stricky.
I know you know. There's no question. You know. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Just think of how far we've come. Mm-hmm. You know, the fact that now we have multiple channels on Allo and the YouTube and all the streaming platforms have done very well. And we can't say it no better than the fact that you guys are great. Those who are listening. And while you're listening, there's something that's great on the phone right now on the Allo VIP line.
President of the Omaha Supernovas, Diane Mendenhall, joins us. Diane, thanks for giving us some of your time. How are you this afternoon?
I'm wonderful, Austin. How are you?
We are doing great. We're excited to get the Supernovas back on our airwaves tomorrow. Feels like it's been a while since they've played a game. Still at the top of the league standings. I'm sure you're not surprised by the team's record, but how proud are you of the team and their start halfway through the year?
Extremely proud. You know, you never know when you're doing something for the first time, you're seeing your competitors for the first time, how things will shake out. But these ladies have responded, and, you know, they love to play to the crowds and the energy and the enthusiasm. And number one, their play on the court, but number two, just the overall excitement of the sport has really just virtually exploded.
It really has. I want to start with the team on the floor, and starting with the news early into the season. Coach Collier steps down. Coach Bird Kuhn elevated. What have you made of the job that she's done in keeping the train rolling for the Supernovas?
Well, it's absolutely tremendous. And we know based on, her history, her success that she had at KU and Texas A&M and, just going all the way back to her playing days at Georgia Tech. She's the best of the best. She's definitely a player's coach and just communication. But then also you take it to the floor and her ability to teach and train and lead these women is phenomenal. And then the coaching staff that she's surrounded with is some of the best of the best. And that's why you're seeing the performance on the court too, is helping these ladies elevate their game and just be definitely a competitor in the league.
Halfway through the schedule, the Supernovas sit at 8-4, 3-3 at home, but 5-1 on the road. What do you make of the job the team has done? Like, they've had some long road trips, right? They've been away from home for a while in their first experience stateside. How have you seen the team handle the challenges that come with a new league and still play to such a high level?
Well, they've handled the road beautifully. We need them to handle the home court as well as they handle the road. So it's interesting. We did, just talking about, number one, having your team with Rico and DP and Renee Saunders joining and having, the ticket along with us for the ride on the road has just been phenomenal. And just they embrace playing on the road and they, the road always brings you challenges. And it's just to their credit and they're true professionals and they know how to get it done on the road. And, the one thing that we feel like when we come back and we basically have a target on our back and all the teams in the league are gunning for us. And then when our fans show up and show out like they do, our opponent actually loves it too, because it's such a great environment to play in. So you're kind of cursed a little bit, but that's the beauty of the sport and the wonderful opportunity that we have to play here in Omaha and in Nebraska.
That home court is definitely something to touch on here. Let's start with the fans and they're showing up, Diane. Again, I'm sure you're not surprised because you know firsthand just how well this state and the fans and the people support volleyball. But the Supernovas are setting attendance records. They already have it. I mean, over 11,000 at 4 of the 6 matches. What's your message to fans who show up and support this early on in the league's history?
We just can't be more appreciative to what they have done. It was, the first match where we're playing Atlanta and it goes into the 5th set and the atmosphere was just absolutely electric. And at that moment in time, you could just tell these fans owned this team. They fell in love with this team and that has just exploded since that day. And that's where the appreciation that we have. And, we talk about championships live here and we put that in our bid to get the championship here is that nobody does it better than the people of Nebraska, and especially the city of Omaha and CHI in hosting Final Fours. Just this is where just wonderful things happen and people support the sport like none other. And we find that with our partners too, the business partners, the corporate partners, the community that stepped up to help us and make this such a wonderful place to play.
We'll get back to the championships. I'm glad you brought that up because that's an important part of this conversation. But you also mentioned just the growth of the sport of volleyball. We know Omaha's setting those records and have a lot of fans. Is the rest of the league, are those markets seeing the same growth that Omaha is?
They are seeing growth. Obviously our base, we started a little bit further ahead than they did. And so you're seeing their attendance grow and also in those markets too. And that's just one thing that we're proud about when we stepped into this, professional volleyball, it's at a unique time of year. People aren't used to seeing volleyball in the winter and spring. And so, but for us to immediately come out of the gate and have over 4,000 season ticket holders is just speaks volumes. And then what we get on those single match buys is absolutely fabulous. And it just, it creates this ripple effect. If you go all the way back to Volleyball Day in Nebraska, that happened last August. And, immediately after that, you had 30 attendance records that were broken across the nation. And it's just it's the sport coming of age, and you're seeing that in the demand, in the eyeballs that are on the sport, the media attention, and it's the perfect time to bring pro volleyball to the United States.
You had a couple great promotions already this year. The Luck of the Novas was one of my favorite ones. I mean, I don't think of green when I think of the Omaha Supernovas, but Diane, I want to give a hand to your marketing team for their creativity because, again, year one, it would be so easy to just be basic and say, oh, we're here, here's a ticket. Oh, we're here, here's a ticket. Kudos to your marketing team. You're putting their creativity on full display, and then that adds to the crowds. And I'm sure that the opposing teams love that kind of stuff too.
Oh, they really do. And thank you for bringing that up too, because, you see this wonderful product on the court and they are surrounded though too with the support structure that's the best of the best. And I think of, Andy Rosenau that's doing the producing of, what you see in game and then our social team with Nick Bolby and Jeff Ekstrom that does, our media and Jacob Rockoff is doing our ticketing. There's a lot of power behind this team and people that are just working tirelessly to just advance the sport. And, that was a really fine balance that we really wanted to walk is Nebraska volleyball, whether, you're at Creighton or UNO or, with the Huskers, there's this deep-rooted tradition of what the fans expect. But yet when you bring the pro level, there's kind of a different feel. So how do we walk that soft line by, being a little edgy, but honoring that rich tradition that's been established? And I think our team has done a beautiful job of doing that.
I absolutely concur. We're talking with Diane Mendenhall, president of the Omaha Supernovas. The news of the day, Diane, the championships coming to Omaha in about a month and a half. Take us behind the scenes for that process. What all went into making sure that not only was the first match of this new league played in Omaha, but that the first playoff matches would also be played here?
Yeah, we've been gunning this from the get-go, and it's hard work initially, and you're basically, proving yourself to the league, and our attendance proved that, our record proved that. And so when the time came to submit the RFP, we've got a lot of, proof of concept of how we get it done in Omaha. So within 4 days, we produced a 17-page RFP that we gave to the league. And then, 2 weeks later, just last Thursday, we received the phone call that we were awarded the championship. And once again, it's a salute to the city of Omaha and the state and all those that have supported us.
17 pages worth of a pitch, but you're going up against some other great event cities. Atlanta hosts a lot. Columbus, college town and pro town. You look at Orlando, San Diego, Vegas. They've all had big events. If you can boil the pitch for Omaha down to just the elevator pitch, the one page, this is why it had to be in Omaha. What was the selling point for Omaha that separated it from these other cities?
Well, you have to just go back to, number one, you've got the College World Series, you had the Olympic swim trials, you have, we just had NCAA basketball here. So we have proof of concept too. And then how many of those places have hosted 5 Final Fours in their venue? And it's a tribute to our tremendous partners here at the CHI Health Center too. They know how to put on a volleyball championship specific event. And so we have the playbook, and that helped us tremendously in putting that together. And then you spoke about our team, and our team, behind the scenes, what they've done all year. We basically had the blueprint. We just had to put it into their format and submit it. So it's a lot of, once again, tribute to everything that's already been here and embraced us, from, the CHI Center to the corporate partners to the fans, and then just laying that out on paper.
6 regular season home games left. Obviously, we're rooting for 8 more home games. That would mean the Supernovas made a run to the championship game. What's the sales pitch for fans? If they haven't come out yet, what are they missing out, and why do they need to make sure they get to a regular season game before it's too late?
Well, it's just unbelievable entertainment. Number one, you're going to have the opportunity to see the best of the best. You've got Olympians, you have national champions, you have All-Americans on the floor that are coming into the CHI Center. It's just a beautiful sport to watch. It's explosive, it's powerful, it's fast-paced. And then the environment, whether you're 8 or 80, we cater to everyone across the board, male, female, every demographic, social graphic, they're all here. And I think what we appeal to absolutely everyone, and that's what's unique about volleyball. And you don't find that in too many other sports.
You absolutely do not. We're doing our part to try to get people there. We got tickets to give away. We'll do that here in just a minute. Diane, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on winning the bid for the championships. Like I said, looking forward to having the Supernovas back on the airwaves tomorrow and following them through the rest of the season.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your support. DP and Rebecca and Rico, and you all have been awesome. So thank you for being our champion. And get those tickets and come out and watch us play.
There we go. We sure will. Diane Mendenhall, president of the Omaha Supernovas. Thank you so much. There she is. She joined us on our VIP line, brought to you by Aloe Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Plenty of tickets to give away. We'll just give the first set away. All right. 2 sets of 4 tickets to the first 2 people in. with their name and their email address on the text line 402-464-5685. Give us that information. We'll get you those tickets during break. When we come back, we'll dive back into college basketball. Coach John Calipari, back for his 16th season at the University of Kentucky. Right move, wrong move. How warm is his seat? Stricky and I will give our take on that next.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now through March 31st, gear up for Easter with USDA choice whole boneless ribeye loins for $12.99 per pound. Fairway's hickory smoked boneless pit hams for $4.99 per pound. USDA choice whole beef brisket for $3.99 per pound, and all natural pork bellies for $2.99 per pound. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Thursday, March 28th versus the Grand Rapids Rise at CHI Health Center in Omaha. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 6 p.m. with first serve at 7. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, there's a chance we could see a few flurries. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies and a high around 46. Tonight, mainly clear skies with a low around 28. And tomorrow, we'll see more sunshine to go along with warmer temperatures. The afternoon high expected around 64. I'm meteorologist Kyle Buckner for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and air park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Talking college hoops here during On the Block, Austin Norman, and of course, nobody better to talk college hoops with than my partner, Stricky, Erick Strickland with me here.
Glad to do.
Here's a question, Strick. Is John Calipari on the hot seat? I feel like we've had this conversation start but never gotten in depth, just like as a general college basketball populace the last few questions. But just yesterday, Mitch Barnhart, the AD, said, yep, Coach Cal's back for his 16th season. Right move, wrong move. How do you digest that?
Well, obviously, I think Cal was one of the ones at that period of time that was part of the one and done dynamic, super talent. Always was coming through Kentucky. Resources were absolutely phenomenal. I actually think that the basketball team for a period kind of ushered in a little bit of what Kentucky football was starting to show. Never was going to be a top perennial pro, but they were kind of like Northwestern in a way. Now, here's what I mean by that. I'm
high academic standards. Kentucky's so rigorous academic.
Great. What not the standards of the academics, but I'm saying because of what the similarity of that would be like Kansas in its basketball success continuously. Now Leopold's able to kind of just muster in a very competitive means, because I think just the resources of wanting to either balance that out or to make them better, they're starting to kind of understand that and put that in. Kentucky's very similar to that in that you could tell that they started to do some things on the football side to upgrade and made it
Mark Stoops has been really solid.
Yeah, for them, right? Mm-hmm. But it's a blue blood basketball program. And so then you'll have those coaches who have been there for a long time. Now you look at them and the success is in a blue blood program is not what you do in season. It's what you do in tournament. Like when it matters, what do you do? And Kentucky has been one that I think has failed and has dropped the ball. They lost to St. Peter's
2 years ago,
which was a huge black eye on the program.
Snuck by Providence, lost to K-State last year, and then Oakland this year.
So he comes out and makes a statement, Austin, and he says, I think this is something that he has to do because there's got to be some rumbling. There's got to be some volcanic activity going on right there underneath Louisville. They're in Louisville. No, Lexington.
Yeah, Lexington.
In Lexington, because he makes this statement, and this is why I believe this statement was made. He says, this is a commitment that I have to give to the fans. Yes, you do. Now, let's come together, because he's got to be hearing the rumbling. He's got to be hearing them on the radio shows and all of that.
Message boards.
All of that. Let's go do something special. We can do it. We've done it, and let's do it again. So there's that. Now, that comment is going to be held to the fire. So I'm sure that all of them and their staff are going to be called to the carpet, and what we need to do, what we need to recruit, who we need to retain. We've got to get out of this. And they're one of the programs, Austin, that I see has that imbalance that we're talking about.
With the youth versus experience.
So I think they have a culmination of super talent, but they don't have those guys that, higher level guys that stay in the program for longer periods of time.
That makes sense. I'm going to pull my Duke fan cap out here and put it on. That 2015 Duke team, the leaders were Tyus Jones, freshman, Jahlil Okafor, freshman, Justice Winslow, X-Factor, freshman, balanced out by senior Matt Jones, 3-and-D, kind of two-guard wing guy, and Emil Jefferson, played good defense, rebounded. He was a junior as well. You had the youth. you had the upperclassmen mixed together. But ever since that championship streak, it's been older teams. Villanova was old when they won it in 16 and 18.
Kansas.
Carolina was old. Kansas was old. Baylor had kind of been building up to that point as well. Even Virginia, right, in 2019. And that's another interesting school we'll get here in a second. The argument I've heard from a lot of Kentucky fans is, well, who's going to be good enough to take the mantle? If it's not Calipari, who's going to come coach? There's not going to be anyone in the country that Kentucky can convince to go coach there that can match the career achievements of John Calipari. It's just not going to happen. Think about
same thing in Syracuse.
Same thing at Syracuse. Same thing at Duke with Shire taking over. Even Louisville, to some degree after Patino left. UCLA had those questions after Wooden. Carolina.
Well, I think
with
Denny
Roy
Crum.
Hubert.
Denny Crum was probably he's probably the only one that I think could compare Louisville. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, but you raise a fair point. My thing is this: Kentucky might not. Again, Coach Cal's around, but Kentucky will not get a more accomplished coach to go there than Calipari, but they might get one that's better for this moment of college basketball. Cal made some good strides, right? He played a more modern offense. He put more guards on the floor, didn't have two back-to-the-basket bigs, maybe leaned too far in the way of offense, but Antonio Reeves was really good. Reed Shepherd was really good. Rob Dillingham was fun. DJ Wagner he convinced to go. Kentucky modernized offensively, maybe at the cost of too much defense, but Cal did make those changes, and it didn't work. Maybe what Calipari needs is another year. He finally has it, just needs a year to tinker and tweak. But I don't want Kentucky fans to fall into the trap of, oh, get rid of this guy. He hasn't done anything in so long. Cal hasn't magically lost the ability to coach basketball. But Mitch Barnhart, the AD, also has to have a pulse of the team, the fans, and the boosters. Because if they're not confident in Cal and their support isn't there, Lexington is not stable right now. Some people love that he's back. Some people are upset that he's back. You can't be afraid to make the move away from a legend just because you don't know for sure who the next guy is. That's my take.
That's a great point, I'll say. But I want to add to that by saying, when you look at that situation there, it is going to be tough. I think you're right that there's probably a need, but the pulse also needs to be weighed out. And here's a comparison of that pulse I'm talking about. You can tell at Michigan that Juwan Howard had lost the team. What I mean by lost the team is like there's not mutiny or there's not any that. What the goal of a coach needs to do is to get those players in that locker room to go exceedingly and above what he may ask or think of them. It's to inspire them to work harder, to dedicate, to sacrifice, and be willing to go the extra step for your brother next to you, for the program that you're playing for, and for me as the coach, because I love you like that.
Not your pro team down the road. This team right here this season.
And that's what I'm saying is one of the things that I don't think you see at Kentucky yet. I don't think you see that loss of the team or the willingness to continue to work or to continue. I just think that they're missing the balance of guys that are cerebral, because you got to understand a lot of these young guys they're coming straight out of AAU style mentality ball. When things get rough and tough, they don't sometimes maybe know how to get through the adversity of a hard run, or this team is pressing back up on you. It gets tight. Who are we going to go to? What we're going to do? Sometimes a veteran is able to help stabilize those situations, or veterans.
Yeah, I think that's a key point when you look at the players, but also the coaches. Because as we talk about Calipari, retaining his job for another year, I'm sure there'll be tons of questions throughout the season as soon as they lose a game. But I think there's kind of a chicken and the egg scenario here to some degree too, Strick, because I think that a young coach that would be coming in to replace John Calipari would need the infrastructure already in place and set up, right? Like John Shire had so much set up for him at Duke by Coach Krzyzewski.
Yeah.
Right. John Shire
prepared.
Yeah, it was prepared for that role. All the infrastructure was in place to support him. I think if Kentucky goes with a young coach, they have to make sure that all the boosters, all the stakeholders, all the fans or enough of the fans are on board to not raise a stink and not make a young coach just, look over his shoulder. Oh crap, who's coming for me? The flip side of that, I think about Nick Saban at Alabama in football. That's a place with a lot of history, a lot of tradition, one of the bluest of blue buds. Heck, Urban Meyer, what he did at Ohio State. If Kentucky is going to, after Cal's done, make a run at, I don't think this is going to happen, but say they go after Jay Wright, say they go after Brad Stevens. Those are coaches that I think are experienced enough, are enough of a winner that they can bend the infrastructure to their will. Like, think about what Saban took over at Alabama and how he shaped it in his image. A young coach is not doing that at a blue blood. So if the infrastructure is out of whack, Kentucky needs a vet, a guy that's not scared to look over his shoulder, that can take the slings and arrows and be just fine. I think about it the same with Nebraska football, right? I think about all the infrastructure that got built up behind the scenes by Coach Osborne, that Coach Solich took over. And then some of that infrastructure was eroded under Callahan. Pelini came and went, Riley Frost, all the way through the line. Matt Rule still has to prove this, but I think Matt Rule's style is that, yeah, he'd like the infrastructure in place, but I think Matt Rule has the personality to do everything in his power to bend it to the way he wants it. And I'm not saying that sheer force of, will or threats or blackmail, but like, Matt Rule makes people want to get on board. I think we've heard from a lot of his messaging. So even if you were skeptical of him at first, I think more and more people are growing to like Matt Rule. So he's starting to be able to shape Nebraska in a way that I don't think Scott Frost ever was able to, And so applying that to Kentucky, Coach Cal shaped Kentucky the way he wanted it to be. He did. He came in with a resume. He did what he wanted to do in building those big recruiting classes and making Final Fours and Elite Eights early in his time. But if it's not working anymore, is that his fault? Has he lost the force of will to keep it in order? Or was it outside of his control and Kentucky needs a new voice? I don't know.
Well, let me throw it back, because I take what you just said to me. I raised you, and now I'm going all in. Okay.
Ante up.
So I love the point that you just made, but let me throw it back at you. And the reason I'm saying that is that when you think about Cal and what he's done, where they're at, would you say it's an insanity type of mentality? Don't miss what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Insanity by way of, and let me caveat it by putting this part of the question out there. When you look at Fred Hoiberg, okay, not saying they're on the same plane, not saying they're the same type of coaches. I'm just saying one of the things that I think Fred Hoiberg has done is that he's been able to do a self-assessment where he's been able to take in the information, the hardships, learn, and say, okay, I need to shift. I've got to get outside of my comfort zone. People that I've been familiar with, happy with, yes, man, whatever with me. I need to go and get what I'm trying to establish here. And he brought in those type of, to start to set the culture. But he had to do a self-assessment. Is Cal willing, or has he been insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again and getting the same result? That's the question I want to pose to you. And to the Sutter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685.
Can I say both?
Sure.
Because I think in recruiting, it's been more of the same, right? He's continued to go after the blue chips, the 5 stars, bring as many to campus as he can, talent acquisition. And he's done kind of the same thing in the transfer portal, right? Take some of those big swings, a Trey Mitchell from West Virginia, and Antonio Reeves, who visited Nebraska before going to Kentucky. In recruiting, I think it's same old, same old. We haven't seen the team building philosophy in the locker room really change at all. I think on the court, he has made some of those changes, right? They're not playing slow anymore. They have athletes, so they're running. They shot more threes this year than ever before under him. Best three-point shooting team by percentage in Kentucky history, or at least top 5. He adapted his style to the pieces. He knew he had to change there. So he's gone halfway. He's made some of the changes, but not all of them. But then there's a very, very, very fine line between what's a change, what's a tweak, and what's doing something that I don't know and I'm not comfortable and familiar with. Because you don't want a guy to go so far away from what got him there to begin with. To your Fred Hoiberg example, Fred's still coaching the offense. He's still designing the sets and calling the plays. But he recognized, your point, through that self-evaluation process, what his holes, what his gaps were, and he didn't rely on himself to fix them. He brought in other people. Kentucky has had so much coaching staff changeover, which on the one hand is the mark of a good program, right? We see it with Nebraska volleyball, how assistants go through the door. Alabama football. Think about the last time they had an offensive coordinator for multiple years in a row. Part of it's the mark of the good program, but Kentucky isn't winning, to your point, at Kentucky levels, right? If they're measured by postseason tournaments, Kentucky hasn't gotten an inch up the 12-inch ruler recently. So maybe that turnover isn't good and it requires more and different self-evaluation.
There it is, stated and answered. I put him on the stand, and he did. He took care of business there. But we are on the block.
We let's throw this out there too.
Oh, you
though.
got something else out there? Go ahead.
Tony Bennett at Virginia.
Okay.
Is it the same situation as Calipari, except focused too much on defense than offense? Is Virginia a good enough program to consider itself a blue blood to swing for the fences if they get rid of Tony Bennett? Where do you fall with the Cavaliers?
Well, my question is, what is Virginia? Is Virginia considered a football school? Is it considered definitely not football? Is it considered a basketball school? I don't think it was either. I think it's
baseball school.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
What do you really say Virginia is? I think that's what makes it tough. I think Virginia as a university is probably in an identity crisis. You're stuck in an ACC. You can't get out of that. You're not one of those like Florida States, Miamis. You're not one of those sought after programs because you're not really a blue blood. I wouldn't say. I think you may have said new blood, but even then, were they? It was like kind of like a hit, and
who's a newer blue blood, Virginia or Villanova?
Well, I would say, newer. I would probably say you would try to put Virginia in that kind, but are they really? I think more so the consistency would be with Villanova. Now that Jay's gone, there's kind of been a drop off, but I would say that's more of the case. But ultimately, you don't know what you don't know what Virginia. Well, I've almost made a lot of people mad by saying West Virginia, but you don't know what Virginia really is as a program, Austin. And so,
well, you don't know where it ranks because you know what it is.
Right.
You know what Virginia's program is, built on defense, the Dick Bennett, Tony Bennett principles. And Virginia, like DP is pointing out here, elite academic school. Like that's its focus first and foremost. And I'll echo what I said about Coach Cal. Virginia probably won't find a more accomplished coach than Tony Bennett. Like, Tony Bennett kind of figured out the secret sauce at Virginia. But if Virginia wants to take that next step and consider it a blue blood, their postseason success hasn't been there recently.
Yeah.
I mean, they won the title in 2019. That absolutely counts. Before that, Sweet 16, round of 32, Elite 8, second round, first round, title year, COVID year, first round exit, no tournament, first round, first four. What do you want, Virginia fans? Like that, since the national title, it feels very Bo Pelini from here with the defense. I mean, I know both teams were better on offense. Like, I'm not saying run Cal out of town. I'm not saying run Tony Bennett out of town. But I think if Kentucky and Virginia would do a self-evaluation and truly figure out what it is their fans, boosters, and stakeholders want, I think that would go a long way for both of those coaches in helping build out their program for as long as they're still there.
Yeah, it's well stated. I look at what I think is concerning with the ACC is it's lackluster in football now. Because just go from top to bottom. I mean, you have one-offs periodically from North Carolina. They'll shine for a quick minute and they'll drop off the mountain like they just dove off and did a cliff dive. And then you have like the Virginias, you have the Wake Forest. It's the same thing. Pop up 1 minute, fall off and jump off like they were swan diving off a cliff. And then Boston College, no. Well, I guess they try to throw Notre Dame in there to kind of play, but
Virginia Tech was up there, but not as much anymore.
You know what I'm saying? Georgia Tech pops head up. No.
Syracuse had one good year.
Miami,
Pitt had one good year.
They always hype. No. Florida State does, and then unfortunately has the injury situation, I thought that was probably the best thing going for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, and then basketball's kind of tapered off some as far as that strength. I mean, obviously North Carolina State, no one saw that coming.
Right.
But North Carolina's been pretty consistent now that, but then just think about that. People were calling for Hubert's head just about a year or two ago.
Strick, last year, not 2 years ago, last year, Carolina was preseason number 1 and missed the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
They were heated.
Yeah.
He was not safe.
Not safe. But now, he rebounds and so my thing is they're not the old school dominant ACC that it used to be.
No.
They're definitely not football. It's very cross the board football mediocrity. I think their strength lines, unfortunately, in baseball.
You're onto something there.
I mean, and then that's just not the sport that's sexy, and it's not the one that's going to, get the moolah rolling. No. So I don't know. What do you say? What do you do if you're the ACC at this point? This is why I think the ACC is in trouble.
Yep.
They're trying to hold on, but I'm just saying, I just see that they're in trouble. I just don't really have no identity.
We haven't had a chance to talk about it, but it is worth mentioning here that Clemson and Florida State are suing the ACC. Again, still,
I even forgot about
still
that.
going on.
Now, shout out to Clemson basketball right now. Okay. Yeah. Doing those things.
They're further than I thought they would be.
Yeah,
not a
really
fan of
are.
it.
No.
1256 asks on the Starter Heyman text line, you don't think those teams do self-evaluation? Big Time's programs evaluate everything all the time. This is big business. After every loss, big time programs are evaluating. I'm not saying they're not.
Right.
I'm questioning
and
how
that's
candid
internal.
Yes, it's always
We're not
internal.
talking about as the presidents
Message boards, fan.
Yeah, it's mostly internal.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to do internal self-evaluation. That's
Right.
what we're talking about.
They're having those conversations, but how honest are they being?
Right.
What are those conversations that are taking place? Because, yeah, every time Duke loses, trust me, I hear those conversations. Is it the end? Oh, Shire's not like Krzyzewski. He never lost these games. I root for a blue blood program. I know what that's like, So, yes, there is some aspect of that. But how honest is Kentucky being with itself and with Calipari? How honest are the fans and boosters really upset? Or are they just disgruntled? Will one, Final Four run say, oh, yeah, we're all fixed. Sorry we ever doubted you. That's the honest conversation that these places need to have. Maybe they're having them. I don't know. I'm not in Lexington.
Yeah.
But
good question, though.
But look at even Louisville, just across the state.
Yeah.
Talk about soul searching, Strick.
Yeah.
They almost had to hire Rick Pitino's kid to coach them because no one wanted to walk into that mess. That's a program that wants to think of itself as a blue blood that isn't acting like one right now. It is a slippery slope both ways, keeping the coach and letting him go. It does go both ways.
Well, as I said, well stated, understood, and thank you guys for chiming in as well as in putting your questions and answers out there. But we're gonna dip out. We're gonna take a quick break. Let them continue to come. 402-464-5685. Let you continue to pour out your thoughts and in the matter. Are those teams, blue bloods or new bloods? How would you view them? But on another note, we're going to cross it over because time is just swept on by, man. God, gosh, hump day. We got on the other side of the hump, and we're on the block, and we'll see you right next on the crossover with Old School.
NEBCO is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. NEBCO offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From NEBCO's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and air park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
This Friday is Good Friday, and you know what else is good? The incredible chocolates and confections at the Chocolate Season. Help us celebrate Good Friday by joining 93.7 The Ticket for live broadcasts from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Chocolate Season in Williamsburg Village. Come see how their chocolate is made. Enjoy Easter-themed treats and, of course, live radio. The Chocolate Season, March 29th from 8 to 2 with 93.7 The Ticket. I'll see you there.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
The Stars are home this weekend for a pair of pivotal Western Conference games. It all begins on Friday night as the Sioux Falls Stampede come to town for a 7:05 p.m. puck drop. Don't miss Down Syndrome Night the next day on Saturday, with the action getting started at 6:05. Haven't been out to a Stars game yet this season? Don't miss out, because only 3 weeks are left in the regular season. Tickets are available at lincolnstars.com.
Have you been accused of a crime? Is your freedom at stake? At Liberty Law Group, we are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Facing the court is stressful, overwhelming, and full of uncertainty. At Liberty Law Group, we believe in treating every person with respect, compassion, and understanding. When legal troubles are keeping you up, trust Liberty Law Group to fight your battles. To learn more, call 877-42-LIBERTY. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Hi, folks. Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the Chevrolet and GMC Truck Month is now underway. We've got huge savings in Louisville. Get $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months on select models. Yes, you heard right. That's $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months happening right now at Koppel. So take that short money-saving drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with proof credit. Stock number G214773.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There we go. My mic's on now. We're back on the block. Austin Norman, Erick Strickland, joined by Jay Foreman. Welcome in, Jay.
What up?
Oh, you
Got
know.
the sun out, man. You know? Yeah, what's going on?
It's tricky. Go. Sun's out, guns out. Run out in front. We'll get you on.
It's
Do it.
schizophrenic, man.
No,
the
it's
weather,
just- it's
the
just-
weather in Nebraska and the Midwest, I think, is very schizophrenic. It could be 20, 30, and then it'll be 60.
80. Yeah.
80.
Yeah.
It's
but
crazy.
then it gets you get 80-mile-an-hour winds when it's real nice out too. So just ruins being outside.
What was the worst part of spring practice? The cold days or the weirdly hot days?
You know, I didn't mind. You know, obviously, you know, when you're not prepared for like an 80-degree day, it kind of jumps on you a little bit. But I didn't mind spring practice. I looked at it like, it's a time to really, really hone in on the things that you can't do during the season. So if you are not doing an honest evaluation of yourself, and maybe your coach is not as well, and you're not stepping out there to get better, then you're just kind of just kind of looking at the clock. But if you're out there, if you want to work on your hand placement, you want to be stronger with your hands, you want to see if everything that you did in the weight room, you know, applies. Yeah, applies. And you're out there competing. I mean, when we were out there, that's where jobs were won or lost. I mean, you were separating yourself. Winter conditioning, spring practice, spring scrimmages, spring game, and then then you go from there. So we had no chance to worry about the weather. If it was 20 degrees, Coach Osborne, we were going to be outside. If it was 80
still doing
degrees,
his laps at 20 degrees?
Oh yeah, he got him in. He got him in faithfully. It might take him 8 hours, but he getting him in.
Shout out to old school sponsor, Certified Piedmontese, 84 the Havelock. Yes, sir. The jerky is absolutely phenomenal, by the way. Oh, but check this out, Jay. When you think about the football program, like was it more fun to enjoy the aftermath of like a big game or the preparation for the big game?
That's a great question, man. I always tell people there's nothing I loved more than getting ready for a big game. I mean, I loved it, man.
Yeah.
I think about it right now, and it gives me like goosebumps.
Right.
That
tunnel walk, was that like just
no, the thing I really like, Strick, I want to beat you at your best.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I want to beat because you know why I want to beat you at your best? I don't want you ever to think that you can beat me. And I don't want no excuses.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was mental because I like to compete. I just grew up. That's what I wanted. I wanted to see, like, the pros were great, right? Because a lot of guys go. I feel like, you see with the NBA. I mean, of course, you got the money's great, right? And for when I came in, where I was drafted, it's like, hey, look, I want to see if I am one of the best. It's a challenge. I'm compete. I want to see. So I want to see how I measure up.
Yeah.
But with that you got to be willing to take some L's, and you got to be willing to maybe take an L or you get beat in a game. So like when I prepared for a game, I'm not preparing and like visualizing like just me just running through everybody and having 20 tackles. I visualize a little bit what happens if you get ran over, what you're gonna do, what's your comeback like. So I like the big games. Now, now I think the reaction after you're doing that, that's there's emotions from relief. We knew it, domination, but as hard as we worked and how many headaches we had, or we used to get those like helmet marks on our forehead. So you see some of the pictures, it's like we all got marked. It's how you stamp the cows and stuff. That was our mark right there, because we were all bald headed as well. All that I never thought about being in practice, legs so tired that you had to get in a cold tub, or I hated running 3 full gassers after practice. Never thought about that after winning. Never.
Yeah, that's dope.
So it makes it worth it.
Yeah.
It sucked though, but I love those big games though. There's nothing like looking across there's nothing like looking across and you got to bring it.
What was the most competitive game either of you ever played in? That fire's just burning.
Man, let me tell you. You want to know the most competitive game I ever been in?
I need to know.
Ever? Not it was in college. Been in where it was like this was straight nasty. You like where you like it was in Memorial Stadium before we were going to play Florida, and I remember it was a scrimmage, ones against ones, and it started to get cold and like misty kind of snow, and we were out there getting it in, and every play was a fight. So and that's first and second team. So the ones against ones got it started, twos against twos. So then it was competitive, and I know the series kept going because we wanted to keep going and the offense wanted to keep going. That's the most competitive, because when you looked across, I saw no weakness and nobody was going to bend. So I mean, of course we got in. I mean, we played some great teams. But though that's the most competitive nature that I can remember.
I would say mine was probably, you didn't prepare all week, but this shows you that you have to stay prepared. Like, you didn't prepare for the assignment that was about to be given to you. You didn't practice it. You watched film and you looked at everybody, but you didn't think that was going to be your assignment. And that was showing up game time, and then coach says, your assignment today is Michael Jordan. Like, at first you're like, oh,
yeah.
Beep, you know what I'm saying? Because you didn't prepare. That's not what you prepared. You prepared to guard Ron Harper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's no slouch either. But you're going against Black Mamba. You're going against the Black Jesus, as they used to call
right?
it. Yeah.
So then you get out there and you're going to warm-ups and you're at home, so you're comfortable, but then they run out and you're just like, dang, you've seen that run out as a kid for all these years. And you're like, dang, and then, because you get to half court, they get to half court, that's your assignment. You still like, dang, that's him.
Yeah.
And Air Jordans on.
Yeah.
But then when the tip goes off, man, bump you. Like, I don't care who you are. What's up? Like, you switch, that thing kind of switching you, that competitive part of you switches from, the part of airness and what you've seen and what you've known. That's when that shift is always beautiful for me. And then the same thing happened with Gary Payton, because he was somebody I kind of modeled myself after. And to have, as a young rookie, to give Gary 28, like, I was excited.
Yeah. I think people don't really realize when you're playing against, like when I played against Dan Marino, like, he's always been one of my, if not my favorite quarterback. He's, him, John. I play against all them dudes, and then you get to play against, Edgerrin James and Marshall Faulk. So Marshall Faulk, I remember watching Marshall Faulk in college or high school or college, and
San Diego State, right?
San Diego State, and lived in high school where they play late. But I would stay up late and watch him, and the way he ran was kind of like Jordan. He just moved different though. He was fast, 4.4 or whatever, but it was just like he just was different. And Eric knows what it's like. But when you get out there, the best thing about competing is you're out there measuring yourself against them, and you want that respect from them.
Yeah.
And I remember this. I remember playing against Denver and Shannon Sharp. And so Shannon be wolfing and stuff. And I remember
Shannon, no.
But I remember
Shay.
But I remember when they were playing Pittsburgh, when they upset the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think they ended up winning the Super Bowl. And he was telling LaVon Kirkland and Earl Holmes, who I watched all the time, he was like, "You the weak link," and he was just mic'd up, and he walked, like, "You the weak link." Yeah, I'm doing, and he was doing it. So you got to be on point, because the one thing about going to Shannon Sharp, he gonna talk to you, he gonna talk to your teammates, and then he just gonna tell everybody. But then again, he's a competitor.
Yeah.
And so, once you get that, maybe you got it with Jordan. It was like, all right, young fella, I like your game. Or, good job. You know what I'm saying?
So you're absolutely right, because we played them, and I want to say in maybe 2 years later, he had a golf tournament in San Angelo in Texas. And it was a golf tournament, but it was also a celebrity basketball game, because we used to do those back in the day. You don't do those as much
anymore, yeah.
But we had a celebrity, and I was on the other team, and they were giving our shirts and uniforms out, and Michael looked at the list, and he told the organizer or whoever was running it for him, he said, nah, switch that. I want Strick on my team. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, you want
that.
that.
Was
it's
that,
like
I was like, oh.
Yeah, you always want that seal of approval.
Yeah.
Or like another line, like in our case, like the quarterbacks always meet, but like I'd always watch opposing linebackers, and then you find them if they,
like what if like Ray Lewis comes
right,
like I see what you're doing.
yeah, dap up a little bit, but Ray, I just give him a pound. It's like you ain't getting too close. I'm just playing, but but I remember a linebacker that I had a tremendous amount of respect for, who might not
you played with or against?
Played it. Well, yeah, I played against.
Okay,
I didn't play against him, but right. It's two of them. Keith Bullock that played for the Titans, who was a ultra playmaker.
Didn't he wear the hip?
Yeah, and he had long. He was a basketball player. Was at Syracuse, and he's phenomenal athlete. And then Mike Peterson, I used to call him Mike P. And we're the same draft class. He went second round. He went to Indianapolis, and then he played at Jacksonville. So then he moved to middle linebacker. So I'd watch him, and generally we'd play afterwards. Yes, we got to pause.
We behind.
Station identity.
We got to get it.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
And then you'd meet at after the game, and like, yeah, man, I like your game. Good luck in the because generally it was hard to get paid back then.
Mm-hmm.
And and you always kind of keep track of who was drafted the year before in your draft class, and maybe afterwards. Just got to check everybody, because that's around your draft. That's your linebacker kind of core of guys you like evaluate, like Ray Lewis or somebody like that. Now, I'm going to tell you the dude I used to dap up with all the time, man, is Zach Thomas.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
I mean,
short, spunky,
but let me tell you
rough
something.
and rugged.
He's a Dolphin?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember watching him in college.
Yeah, Texas Tech.
And what he did in Nebraska. But I'm talking about one of the most humblest superstar guys ever. I mean, we would talk so much. We'd be the last ones out there.
He was like Iron Head. Like,
right.
Like what is that? What was that thing on
Ram Man?
Ram Man.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was fast. He was smart.
Yeah.
And he would give you a couple keys. You know what I mean? And he was just paying it forward. Passing down the wisdom. Junior Seau. I mean, he was great, man. I mean, he remembered me when we played out in San Diego. They had just lost to get eliminated from the playoffs. He was on his boat. Met him, introduced him. He's one of my favorites of all time. And I used to do a celebration every once in a while. So I met him then, and then I playing against him a few times. And then we did the preseason scrimmage practice deal when he was with the Dolphins. And then somehow we got on there. And then every day for the 4 days that we practiced in the game, we'd ride over every day.
Wow.
And then he would just talk about different stuff, talk about life. Like, this is how you approach it. He's like, I asked him about what he does for workouts. He's like, during the season, he's like, you're going to be tired anyway. So we, every team I go to, we do the breakfast club or the coffee club. He's big into coffee, but works out at 5:00 in the morning. He's like, get your work in there. Your body will be recovered by practice. Then you need to learn how to take care of your body. Beat yourself up earlier in the week, recover, hit max. So ever since then, I just started doing what he was doing.
Let me ask this real quick, because back then it's different now as far as the pay scales. And the way they work.
Yeah.
How was it then? Because linebackers seem to be at a higher demand back then to me in the hierarchy, right?
Yeah,
always you probably
different ways. Yeah, I get you.
Not as much, but yes and no.
No,
I think I mean, it's yes.
So
I think the D lineman. I
I
think it was always corner and like Bruce Smith. Those guys are going to get paid the most.
Mm-hmm.
Linebackers hit a peak, but then it was real top heavy. So you never count like Ray Lewis and those guys, because they're
Lewis.
They're always in another stratosphere. But then after that, like after you got after, it was like, they felt like they could always find somebody for you, because then the money shifted back to safeties.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you saw a lot of guys. What was the dude number 30 that played for at the time the Redskins and like Bob Sanders and those guys?
Yeah,
that's where the safeties took off. But we end up
Sean Taylor,
and those guys, right? So that's where you saw those guys shoot up the draft. Adam Archuleta, He's a big old safety from LSU.
LaRon Landry.
LaRon Landry.
What's my boy from Paulo?
Right. So those guys started being the factors, and because they were able to do multiple things. But I was able to hit him over the head a couple times.
Yeah.
But not to the rate that they're like when I see these guys playing now, I'm just like the dude Vander Esch.
Yeah.
They just had to retire. No, I mean I hate that he got retired. He got pile drived and had some neck problems. Wow, look at his game, man. Him and like Jalen Smith, because you go to Dallas, and I was like, yeah, dude, you wouldn't have lasted. You wouldn't because they're
small.
Well, it's not in that. We were better football players. They're more top heavy, better athletes.
Got you.
That's the difference.
That's the difference.
Because if you got to think,
is that fair to say for basketball too, Strick?
I think so. I think what I find intriguing in the basketball side of things, fellas, is guys are averaging 6-8 points and really not doing it, but they're getting paid $40-60 million.
Right.
I'm like, are y'all freaking serious? Like, boy, if I could turn back time.
You know what I look at? I mean, because
I could find a way.
You know what's crazy about basketball is like a cat, like Buck Williams.
Yeah.
Like Terry Cummings. Like even a Tom Gugliotta would destroy these dudes right now. Tom Gugliotta, before he had that real bad knee injury, he was 20-10. That's what KG there.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's straight up.
That's
you
a
talk
fact.
about even like a dude that was their third option was like Wally Zerbiak would give these dudes the business 6-7, and then he'll go downtown 29th Street and dunk on you real quick
that
too
part.
On the sneak because he's from inner city New York City. He will jam you up 2 times.
Yeah,
like Teddy.
Yeah,
right, jam.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, jam.
And he will pipe down on you real quick. Whereas like. There you go. See, there you go. Oh, there you go, old Mace out there with your P. Diddy. There you go. You up there. Leave P. Diddy alone.
Another black guy for Syracuse basketball with that, by the way. I blame Boeheim.
You blame Boeheim?
I blame the zone.
Boeheim got some secrets up there. But I'm just saying those type of players back then, it's just a different time. In basketball, it's the same thing. They're going through it right there where, this little parting shot, all the better basketball players are coming from different countries.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think, my man, Gilchrist Alexander, he's the Canadian.
Yeah.
You got to think Wembanyama Canadian. You got to think Luka.
Yeah.
You know, Joker. Why?
Giannis.
For Giannis. They getting fundamentals with that size, and they just
the game becomes easy.
Yeah. Well, it's not that. How many?
It becomes easy for them because
how many
in
and out dribbles, crab dribbles, step back. You see them doing?
Not much.
Yeah.
To the Baja.
To the Baja. Strick, Jay, Austin. It's been on the block old school. Next. Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice-integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
Lane's Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will